Good evening and welcome to the Northeast School. Today is a special day for me and my team. Our first video on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Independent journalism gives us the freedom to report the truth without any corporate pressure. And I need your support. Like, share, subscribe to Northeast Scoop, your trusted source for credible news from the Northeast. We begin with Manipur's Crossroads, a state in crisis. Meitei-Kuki tensions have led to violence, displacement, and deep mistrust. With president rules now in place, can peace and justice be restored? Joining us for this crucial discussion, Rupa Chinai, veteran journalist and author, Hoihnu Hauzel, conflict expert and writer, Dr. Sreram Rojesh, convener, Delhi Meitei Coordinating Committee. Has the media failed? Can trust be rebuilt? What is the path forward? Stay tuned with us as we seek all these answers. Let's begin with Rupa Chinai. Good evening to you all.
Thank you, Afrida.
Yeah. So, my question to you is the Meitei and Kuki conflict purely ethnic or deeper economic and political factors are at play? What is your observation as a journalist who is observing whole of the situation of Manipur? Uh,
Um, I think there's much more to the issue of the Northeast and for Manipur. Um, I just, first of all, want to start by thanking you for including me in this. Being a regular visitor to the Northeast region for the last 40 years, and I've been many times to Manipur. And I have friends in all the communities. I've written a book about this region at a time when the Indian media was not following what was happening there. And I've tried to document the story of what's going on there. There's so much more to understanding what is happening in the Northeast. It's not just economic or political. It is Northeast communities who have a great desire to live on their own land, to live according to their own destiny and their own cultures. And if we can understand these aspirations, I think we will be able to get to the root of some of the issues that have been bogging down many communities, not just now, but for the last 40 years that I have witnessed. So, just as an Indian, I just want to say that there's been so much wisdom that I have experienced through your cultures and the tribal cultures in particular, and they've done so much to help us to protect our biodiversity, our land, our forests, our water sources. I think we in India owe a lot to the tribes of the Northeast, and I think it is time that Northeastern tribes return to their own wisdom of how to live and teach us in the rest of India. And India is in an enormous upheaval right now. We are helpless to know what we can do in this situation, how to help. But there are two, three things that I feel I want to convey to the Northeastern groups. And I feel that this is the time where we need to have small conversations, not just with each other in our little communities, but also within the Northeast. Um, it's just the time for small conversations. I feel we need to stand in the shoes of the other and to really try to understand where they are coming from and to try and listen to them and just to understand whether we agree with them or not. And the last thing I want to say is I will not allow my lands to become the killing fields. I will try to look at what is right, not who is right. And I feel that is the hope that we can go forward with. Thank you, Afrida.
Okay. Rojas, this question remains the same. Okay. Was it purely ethnic or economic or illegal settlements or poppy cultivations? Lots of allegations are there. Being from
Uh,
Manipur and from Meitei community, what is your opinion on this?
First of all, I would like to congratulate to your new journey, and this is being the first show of this your important channel. All the best. In your questions, come to your questions that the Manipur has been burning for last 21 months, and this is actually has a very wide range of area where it is actually burning in Manipur. It also political, economic, geopolitics, multinational and international actors are involved. And that is why Manipur has been burning. And most importantly, the Indian state has a very suspicious role taking in this a conflict between the communities, and they allow to the youth of the both the Cookies and Meitei to arm themselves to protect themselves, and this is happening in the 75th year of Indian Republic. And it seems like the nation making process is not completed yet, and still this kind of war game is actually going in implementing. And of course this conflict is designed from Delhi. This is not my view, and this is has been perceived and understood uh, by the many communities in Manipur, particularly by the Meitei communities. Otherwise government could have actually resolved it. It could have already, bring peace in Manipur. But I think center has a very, they have some objective to allow such kind of conflict between the two communities. Why I am saying so is because this is not the kind of conflict or communal riot happen in India. So it's an unprecedented conflict where the communities are armed themselves, not a small arm, but they are with sophisticated arms, AK-47 rifle, sniper, all kinds of arms, even more than the Indian army and the security forces. So
Mhm.
when the 60,000 forces or even the state have not actually intervened, it means that this is just as allowing to fight each other. And we suspect that there is an agenda of dividing the Manipur on ethnic line for geopolitical purposes. And this is very unfortunate. This is my opening remark. And this understanding has been again, again actually verified by the recent 2 days back. The Senapati District Students Association have actually red-handed, arrested, or even the news has come out that the Assam Rifles were actually transporting or facilitating to the Kuki armed groups under the suspension operation under the president's rule. Even it happened 3 days back, and where in other side in Imphal, more than 100 people, armed Meitei group have been arrested, and even including 21, 22 Arambai Tengol members have been cracked down, arrested by the Assam Rifles. But in the hills, they are transporting secretly, and it was
Mhm.
actually found by the students group at the night. So it's in open document right now. So it actually more verified that the government of India is actually doing some kind of very dirty politics, to divide the people by using the armed groups against the one community. And of course one may ask why they wanted to do that, because many experts in from Manipur are saying that it's because of the geopolitics, because the government of India wanted to influence in the Burma war, and there are reports that they have actually siding with the rebels, and also at the same time they're supporting to the military junta to actually influence on that. And unfortunately, the Meitei are actually limited in the some Central Valley, but the
Mhm.
other armed groups, they have influence in Burma, particularly Chin Kuki, Mizo Kuki groups, and there are other reports in media that some of the armed groups were also, allegedly supported by the Indian military group, like in AB, Burma. So there are a lot of other issues around. So my answer is, in this conflict, it's not between the two groups of the conflict. Rather, it's many multi layers of interests are involved. Geopolitics involved, economic issues are involved, and the political issues are involved. and and most importantly, the failure of the Indian state is not fail. It's actually they're willing to fail themselves to get something. This is
Okay.
my first opening remark.
Okay. Hoinu, what is your opinion regarding the allegation of the regarding this video which has emerged that Assam Rifles allegedly was helping the Sioux militant and transporting them in, and they were caught red-handed. And regarding all this biasness towards the Sioux militant group by the Assam Rifles, and overall opening remark on this.
Okay, good evening, Afrida. Thank you so much for giving us the privilege to open this, your notice scope, with all of us discussing a very important topic of the unresolved Manipur, which is, it's, as Rojesh pointed out, it's on its 21 month, right, Rojesh?
Yeah, 21.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, 21 months now, just a few months short of 2 years. Your question is very heavy, but I would just like to pick two lines that just struck me when Roger said, designed from Delhi, the conflict in Manipur. I'm afraid I think that's a very convenient way of saying that, we are so powerless that we have empowered an extremely distant center to help us fight amongst ourselves. So I somehow would not entirely agree with that. But having said that, I also feel there is a very important economic disparity, which is one of the many causes of this very complex uh, issue, which will perhaps, which is becoming more complex by the day as we're pointing fingers at every possible directions, geopolitics. Of course, all of them have also helped in shaping and uh, in perhaps in putting fuel to the fire. But I think one thing that we always miss in when we look at Manipur is the economic disparity, wherein the state has not really adequately, the state policy has not adequately even addressed the needs of smaller communities. So if we look at
Mhm.
today, the status of that we are today, the airport, which is the national property of the country, which is supposed to be open for all citizens of India, it is not, it is out of bounds for the Kuki Zo group. And
Okay.
healthcare infrastructure, they are all centered around Imphal. So even if we're not talking about communal, even if we're talking about Manipur in its peaceful time, is it even right that every development should be Imphal centric? Which is why I bring to mind uh, a very talented and dynamic IS officer, Armstrong Pame, who, when he was a DC in Tamenglon, imagine he did a crowdfunding and he constructed a road of 100 kilometers because there was no motorable road for the youth of Tamenglon to even communicate. Patients had to be carried on a bamboo stretcher. Students had to walk kilometers on the road. Imagine this is a Naga district that until it waited for this young man to come and be posted as a DC and did a crowdfunding and constructed the road. This only highlights how hills of Manipur have been neglected, how all the funds that are supposed to
Okay.
be, yeah, for the overall development of the state has just been squandered away just for Imphal. So I think, forget about the community. Is that even right? So we need to really look at the disparity in terms of all this infrastructure, in terms of facilities that are just there in Imphal. I want to
Okay.
also just highlight the state of healthcare. Churachandpur has one district hospital, a civil hospital, which has been there for a couple of years, but it does not even have an upgraded facilities. So, we're talking about even the basics of the basics that are not even adequately distributed around Manipur. So I think one of the many causes, which I mean, in the interest of time, we don't want to go on to all of those, is economic disparity, which people should look into it.
Okay. Hoinu and Rojesh, both of you had made a
Yeah.
serious allegation today. What leads you to believe that Delhi has designed this conflict, and what evidences or reasoning support this perspective?
I think these
In
questions. So please continue, Sister Boino.
Yeah,
No, no, no. Was that for me or for Rojesh?
yeah. For both of you, you can start
Okay, no, since I
because
was already speaking. So of course it's an allegation, but I'm also asking ourselves, that are we really so driven by what people are saying that we fail to see our neighbors, we fail to see people that we have been living with for years, ages, since century, that we actually then allow external forces to divide us? Was a spirit of coexistence so feebly grounded, or was there never a true sense of coexistence that if we say that, we are just puppets in the hands of uh, uh, people who are so far away the center? Of course, I have my own grouse at the silence of the center, but uh, I'm not entirely convinced that we are just empowering them so much to say very conveniently that you made us fight. I
okay,
think we're
Ro-
not responsible. We're not taking ownership here. We're not reflecting here. I think it is more convenient way of saying that you made us fight, therefore we fought. Then where is a faculty of reasoning? Then where is it? Have they taken leave then? When we went to a neighbor's house to slaughter them, you know.
I can understand Hoinu. Yeah, Rojas.
Yeah, I think well, I certainly agree some of the point of what Sister Boino has said on the economic disparities, hill or in the valley. I think let's try to see this very objectively. That Imphal is not a only for the Meitei, as you all know that many Naga groups or many Kuki families, and even more than lakhs of 2-3 lakhs of the non-Manipuri from Punjab, from Haryana, and all communities actually living in Imphal.
Mhm.
And of course, about the health facilities, you have one central hospital and you have one state hospital in the state, and being a center of Imphal, like since there is no any budget allocated, like if you actually establish this hospital in first time in Ukrul, then the people from Chochampur will take at most 5 hours to reach in Chochampur. Or if this hospital make in Tamenglong, then Chandel in from the extreme area, they will take another 9 hours. So, but Imphal is a center from all the. It's actually a small valley surrounded by the 9 mountains, and all places actually comes very easily. That is why I think maybe it's become a center. Of course, I fully agree that that even 2001 before, the Manipur was the most unstable state, and even the state was not able to pay the salaries, and then there all kinds of economic instabilities was also there. It was only after 2001, after the big protests happened in Imphal, probably they have increased budget of Manipur, in thousands number. So why I am saying is that as a students of political economy, I mean, we have to see how even Imphal is actually, if you compare with Imphal and Guwahati, Imphal is nothing. If you compare one city, Imphal and Delhi, it has nothing. It has nothing about the road, our safety. So we may not actually, for example, see this issue from that point. Rather, there is problem of focusing on the township and the city state development. Even in India, for example, in Meghalaya, Shillong, how Shillong and other districts are, the disparities of economic disparities in Nagaland, in many states, because most of these problem of these policy maker is that they always concentrate in the city and the town. Having said that, Chochampur is the second biggest, developed town next to Imphal, if one say, because the only hospital which has the medical institute is in Chochampur, not in Tamenglong, not in Ukhrul, not in Senapati, or not in even in the Valley district in Kakching or Thauban or Bishempur. So it actually says that there are problems of concentrating in on the township and cities. This has a big problem, and we agree that the resources has to be decentralized. And of course, we also propose to the government, and we have submitted a memorandum that why not these autonomous district councils should be more empowered. And unfortunately, these all political elites, including the Kuki elites and Nagas and Meiteis, they cannot see beyond Imphal. And even the ADC is actually budgeted around 125 or 150 crore, and central government have paid around maybe 100. So it was around 250 crore in a year. So we have already proposed that why not you give or allow, sanction for 2,000 crore or even another 3,000 crore from the central government. If you start with 5,000 crore, then you can actually intervene about the development of the hill districts in Manipur. So this can always be discussed because these economic disparities can be discussed, but we cannot justify violence of the economic disparities, and also the kind of the politics of exclusive politics that we will only create only for my community. That kind of politics, it's not acceptable, and I'm very very suspicious that in this conflict, this exclusive agenda, divisive politics is involved, and I mean, a lot of things could be discussed, and there are civil society organizations, students groups are also there. We can sit and we can actually discuss more on that, and maybe this crisis may give us an opportunity to sit together, what went wrong, and how can we progress together between the hills and valley. Having said that, we cannot demarcate between hills and valley because the Chochampur town is a valley, and out of 2.7 lakh population of the Chochampur, 1.7 lakh population lives in the Chochampur town. It's a valley, so we cannot divide between hill and valley dichotomy. Rather, we can think more holistic approach that how the distribution of resources can be spread to all over hills. Why can't you develop Ukhrul as a capital of education? Because Shillong is a hill, Kohima is a hill state, Itanagar is a hill state, and Mizoram is also a hill state. Why not Chochampur? Why not Chandel? Why not Tamenglong? Can be, one of the, center for development. This should be done, and the decentralization of resources should also be done. And this is what the younger people generation, we believe in that. And there is land scarcity in Imphal.
Rojesh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
So actually, my question was not that. Anyways, I would like to request you all to answer the specific means what questions have been asked. Okay,
yeah.
I asked on what basis you say that Delhi has engineered this conflict. Anyways, I will come back to you. My question to you, Rupa is that has the central government's intervention or lack thereof worsened the crisis?
Yes, I think um, it's not just this government, but for decades, Delhi's attitude to the Northeast has been a very colonial minded um, attitude. It's only interested in the land and the resources of the Northeast. I don't think that they have done enough um, to develop the opportunities. Um, in fact, the Northeast has actually been like a black hole where money has been poured into the region and been swallowed up by certain people. It has not filtered down to the villages and the rural areas. So I think that we really need to go back to what happened in the past before May 2023 and to talk about what were the issues at that time that were affecting people and communities. And we need to start addressing that. Um, for instance, I do hold Delhi and the state government under Biren Singh responsible for what happened before just in March 2023 when they began to try and take over forest land in the tribal areas and in the Kopum forest, for instance. Now, we have heard the Meitei side. We need to understand what the cookies have to say about it, but there is evidence, there are records. And I don't want to go into that at the moment, but I think we need to get that wider picture clear that the Constitution of India created special provisions for the northeastern tribes through the sixth schedule, through the series under Article 371, and they are particularly focused on giving communities there their right to ownership of their land, their resources, to practice their own cultures, and we need to, and their own administration to determine their own destiny. And they have very distinct cultures. So we need to come back to that. And when you say that if the cookies want autonomy and administration, I think they're well within their constitutional right. And we need to try and understand that and try and work out some solution that is acceptable to all. But to constantly call them terrorists or illegal migrants or refugees, I think has been very, very damaging. It will be very difficult to go back now to what was there before, what was possible before May 2023. I am told that the Sioux
Okay.
groups were in conversation with Delhi and they were discussing, the sixth schedule and implementation of
Mhm.
that, and that was scuttled. Now the cookies say, how do you expect us to go and live with, in this situation with the valley people? So there's total breakdown of trust, and the government of India and whoever is in charge in Manipur has to start building trust. And we must
Okay.
restore law and order and to operate in very unbiased ways so that it's possible for conversations to take place.
Okay. Okay. So, Rojes, hello.
yeah, yeah.
Am I
So,
audible?
uh,
Yeah. So, yeah.
do you have any specific questions, or you want me to respond to the
Yeah, I
conversations?
want you to respond on, yeah, Rupa.
Uh, uh, I think many I think issues has been raised by Rupa, and certainly some of the points which I respectfully disagree. Why I'm saying so is because, uh, like, actually, we have to understand the the geography, the cosmology, the community history, and how people have been living together, and the kind of relationship between the hills and valley, and the kind of, for example, if I tell about the Meitei, like the Meitei is actually, like, if you go back to the history, that the Manipur, the Central Valley was under the water, and we believe that thousands years before that, the Meitei were, originated from the Kobru Hills, and Kobru we believe as our father Kobru, and when you dead, when you in all the rituals, the Kobru is part of your life and birth and death, and every year Meitei go to the pilgrimage to the Kobru, to pray to the Kobru father and Kognu mother. So we as a Meitei, we actually pray the forest and that Kogru father, Kogru Ima. And this is actually inseparable part of the Meitei culture, because without Meitei Kogru, Meitei culture cannot be completed. If certain politics are saying that now you have to divide because you live in valley and you cannot go to the hills, you cannot go to the Kogru, then I don't think that Meitei will accept this. Even Meitei will not have any problem if you want to develop hill districts, no problem. If you want to give, even center wanted to give 10,000 crore, or if you want to make IIT, any development all hill district, that is part of the Manipur. But if the politics trying to divide the way now we are forced to live, that the Central Valley is under the protected security forces under the name of buffer zone, with the Kuki bunkers in the hill districts, and the central forces are not dismantling the Kuki bunkers in the hills, rather repeatedly they are allowed to fire. So we are not blaming to the Kuki armed groups, rather we blame to the central forces that under their protections, this buffer zones or this military, we call it military border within the state of Manipur. In this context, we are saying that Delhi has designed it because it is unprecedented, because there were many riots happen in India, but no places in the state, within the state, that the army are saying that you cannot go there. Either Kuki cannot go to Imphal or Meitei cannot go to the hills. So this is not possible without a design that to divide the people. And if they applied the rule of law in Manipur, they should have already taken action against all the armed groups, irrespective of the communities. They should have already taken action against the Kuki armed groups who have violated their rule of law. Not and also like the Meitei armed groups who have actually violated the taken themselves in that situation. So this is one. Number two, what I wanted to tell to the audience is that Manipur is a very small state, and only 8% of the land is a valley, and the valley cannot survive without the hills. All the
Okay.
rivers are drying, have been dying because of this. Water is not coming from the catchment area, and many of the hills areas have been completely burned down because of the poppy plantation. So there's a direct connection between these hills and valley. So this divisive politics cannot, what is divide between these two community. So it is better that we can discuss and study that what went wrong and reintrospect ourselves. And I fully agree that we cannot othering our community in one sense, but even many of our community in Manipur, we have already accepted that Manipur is a 34 communities, and the Kukis, Thadau are also very much part of the Manipur. Having said that, if certain politics is trying to change the history, trying to rewrite the history, trying to change the demography by force, then I don't think this will be acceptable. And even under the Constitution of India, of course, many political groups may demand They may have aspirations, but how you trying to adopt the means to get is more issues to discuss. Because in the Bodo territorial movement, there was no the Bodo militant have not attacked the Assamese communities to get Bodo Territorial Council. It may have some stray incidents might happen. The under movement also they are doing democratically, but they never attack the under people in the Telangana movement. But unfortunately, in this case of Manipur, that is why we need to understand what happened on 3rd May. That in
Mhm.
1/3 May, in 4 districts of Manipur, where the Meiteis
Rojas,
are,
I will, yeah. So we all know
I
what had happened in the
no
third
no
May.
I
Yeah,
let me tell this. This is very important to understand, or
but in
also
brief,
do.
because yeah, we
I
have
I will
many questions to be asked. Yeah.
Okay, I will shorten it. On the 3rd May, in 4 districts of the where Meiteis are minority, they were attacked, but the state forces, armed forces, they did not intervene. They did not try to protect them. Similarly, when the violence reached to Imphal, the state did not try to protect the community. So the state and army they were allowed to burn Manipur, and this will never happen in any part of India in this such manner, and that the armies and central state forces see when the youth of the community arm themselves. So it's unprecedented, and I will explain more when the time is given. So
Yeah.
uh, I will only focus on that the demand for separation or union territory, it is not coming from this violence. It was already there from 2012 onwards. In 15, this Cookie State Demand Committee was already there, but this time they have actually chosen another tactics just to empower this demand. They chosen to attack the communities. They should have attacked to the state. If their demand is with the state government or central government, they should have demanded. They should have actually fight with the state government or central government. But they do not do so. That these political elites have actually organized this kind of violence against a particular community, and that is how it actually started. And still this violence continues to do so under the protection
Yeah.
of the central government. Yeah, this is
Rojas,
something. Yeah.
yeah, Rojas, I want to ask you one question. Then I will come back to Hoinu as well.
Hmm.
Now that the president rule is now in place in Manipur,
Hmm.
why the Meiteis are not happy while the Cookies have welcomed this decision?
Meiteis are not happy because the central government niyat kharab hai, because they
क्यों
if the
खराब है
Meiteis
किस कैसे लगा
no,
आपको खराब है
if the
हाँ
Meitei is believing that the Central Armed Forces are siding with the Kuki militant, it is not possible without the Home Ministry's approval, and it is not possible. Let me give you another one example. It may not surprise any intelligent mind will understand it. On the 20th May, that when the chief of the army was present in Imphal, when the home minister was about to arrive in Imphal on 28th, 13 Meitei villages were attacked in the wee hour from 12 midnight to in the morning. And as per the media report, 42 people were injured, 2 police were killed. But the question remains how, where the kind of confidence of the Kuki armed group have that much of confidence that they can attack these communities when the army was present in Imphal. And this is a bigger question. So they have the confidence to attack 13 villages. I am not blaming. This is on record. If you find what happened on 28th May, you will see the chief of the army was in Imphal. This is one incident that one can understand. And after that, also the central security forces did not take any action against those armed groups who attacked the communities. Again, if I also give you another example, in 2004, in January, in 4 days, the Kuki armed groups attacked the More outpost, by using rocket launcher, bullets, and all kinds of sophisticated guns. And there are reports that some of the cookies were firing not very far from the Assam rifle camps. The 4 days, the police outposts were attacked, but the Assam rifle did not fire a single bullet. My question is, if any police station is attacked in Jammu and Kashmir or UP or Bihar by the armed group, will the central forces actually allowed to attack? But this happened in Manipur. But this is not an attack on the community; it's an attack on the Indian state, Indian police, and these are all recorded if you find. So there are multiple incidents happen. Look at it in last year, the DC office was attacked by the armed group in Chorchampur in February 2024, only because one police inspector was suspended because he was found with a photograph with the Kuki militant in a bunker. Then the whole DC office was ransacked with the armed militant. No action was taken in that case. And recently also in Kangpokpi police station was ransacked. The armed Kuki militant came and attacked to the SP Imphal in Kangpokpi, but no action was taken. And again, recently the Kuki armed groups were playing football with AK-47 rifles and the American guns, but there are some report that they have been arrested, but the gun were not found. Then if the people were arrested, then where the gun? The American rifle, it was not an AK-47 rifle. It happened in the playground. So in the other side, in the Hill District, they are allowed to do whatever they want. But in the Imphal, after the president rule started, more than 100 people have been arrested. And then 22 people around by Tengol have been arrested. So the rule of law should only, it appears like that the president rule is just to crack down the Meitei in isolation, targeted attack. And it was already indicated in February, in November, when the Kuki armed groups attacked a village and abducted 6 women. But 3 days later, AFSPA was imposed in 5 police stations. Now, this is very important because the attack happened in the AFSPA area, but AFSPA was imposed in the Valley police station. It should have been, there would have been combing operation against those Zirivam area, but it did not happen. Rather, they imposed AFSPA. That means attack happened by the Kuki militant against a particular community, and AFSPA was imposed against the Meitei. That means the center have a design to crack down on the Meitei, and there are enough evidence on that. So that is why the Meiteis are very restless, and there is an anger that rule of law is not applied, and it only means for the valley areas. So and this is very, very objectionable and condemnable. I'm not referring to the community, but I'm referring to the way how state missionaries, armed forces are actually targeting a particular community against the Meitei.
Okay.
And that is why the
Okay.
Meiteis are angry. Thank you.
Hoihnu, you want to respond to this?
I don't feel the need to be very, very defensive because we're on the 21st month and
But regarding the
facts-
allegations, which are very, very serious.
wait, I don't think this is a forum for me to be defensive because
Correct.
we are already on the 21st month and a lot of what has happened. I'm glad that the media and the world has also got an understanding of what is what. So I don't think we waste, I don't think it's worthy for me to spend another breath to verify because a lot of perspective and opinions have been formed from what is happening in the ground in Imphal. So I don't think I would like to waste another breath in defending because truth is already out. People have a sense of why it happened, how it happened, who are the perpetrators. So I think I would appreciate rather if we have a more solid or something which has not been discussed. The number of deaths,
Okay.
incidents have all been recorded for, it's all in public domain, who did what, who conspired with what, all those things are already there. So I don't think I wish to repeat myself and be defensive, because I don't feel the need to. I do not need to. The truth is already out there. So
But
if you have
Hoihnu, I
any more
want to ask
questions
you.
in terms of
Yeah, yeah.
the
I want to
president's
ask
rule,
you.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So many
Hmm.
cookies claim that the previous government was complicit in violence against them. Now, with the president rules now in place, has this perception changed?
You know, I don't think the cookies or community were demanding for the removal of the man who was in charge, because then what if there was no roadmap to the problem? Would it even solve the problem? So I don't think what we were, I don't think it would be, incorrect to say that our sole uh, aim or demand was the removal of one single man. What we wanted was, in fact, a clearer picture of what is the roadmap ahead of us. Now we are where we are today, but is there a roadmap after his removal? Is there a roadmap after the imposition of president's rule? This is what we want to know. But of course, uh, with the uh, new format, we also are hopeful that there would be a sense of justice. There would be people who are more invested in the problem to understand that, it's just not, it's beyond law and order. Just to merely say it's just law and order, it would be very superficial. So I'm hoping that we have invested people who are impartial, who are matured in the thinking with good intention to come and understand and really look at, the problem, so that we are able to resolve it with a bankable solution. And Rupa had mentioned a very important point wherein she did mention about self-determination. Like I mentioned yesterday very briefly, the word separate administration is not a taboo that we are making it out to be. Whatever the people are aspiring, it is well within the framework of the Constitution. And this is only for self governance. When we say self governance, it's not to say that we are stepping out of where we are. It is well within the ambit of the Indian Constitution. In 1960, if Marathi speaking state, Maharashtra can be given a state, and in 2014, Telangana can be created merely on cultural aspect. I see no reason why, when there's already a clear division between the hills and the valley, geographical why cannot we understand the need for people to self-determine themselves so that they can prosper, historical grievances can be addressed, and there can be a greater cultural preservation. So I think this is something that needs to be studied. It is very superficial to merely discuss it here, but I think these are areas that we really need to look into. Yeah.
Can't hear you.
Yeah. Rupa, my question to you is, are groups like Arambai Tangle and Kuki militant factions, the Sioux groups, furthering the conflict, and should they be held accountable for their actions?
I think
And
definitely.
it may as well. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Um, I
Yeah.
think definitely we will need an independent commission of inquiry. You can call it for truth and reconciliation, whatever you want. But the facts need to be established as to what happened. And if people have indulged in killing, in rape, in murder, they will need to be booked. And I definitely think Arambai Tengol and Meitei-Lipun, a section of Mera Paibi, and uh, the Sioux groups. I mean, definitely, if they have done something that is against the law of humanity, they need to be held accountable. And definitely, if there's a government that would be interested in justice, that commission of inquiry must take place to establish what happened during these very miserable and shameful months in India's history.
Okay. Yeah. So, Rojesh, uh, armed groups from both the communities have committed act of violence. Should there be a joint operations by security forces to disarm them, even if it means facing internal resistance?
Yeah, I mean, from the day one, we have been saying that the disarm the communities, because with the arms you cannot bring peace. Peace cannot be brought under the gun. Having said that, actually we all need to understand that that is why the root cause of the violence is, and how the violence was happening. What was the objective? If this violence is because just to like uh, cleanse, or even any to make an exclusive agenda only for the Meitei, or was it the violence that the Meitei only wanted the valley to be only for Meitei, or was that violence just to claim the exclusive territory of a particular community, and as part of the agenda to wipe out the other communities in certain section of the area. So we have to find out. And constitution does not Indian constitution does not allow to such kind of violence to create an exclusive ethnic agenda. This is one premises, and of course I agree that those people who are responsible for the violence, yes, there's accountable to be brought, and the rule of law should be brought, uh, should be brought, and the disarming is very important, and most importantly, the peaceful coexistence, like to the state central government to actually allow to live the community peacefully, and they also grow together, and the distribution of resources equally, and that is preferable. But in the pretext of this violence, if the state is divided, I think it will not be acceptable to other communities. Like the Kukis have maybe 9 communities, but they are Nagas. Their Naga have also clearly said to the Home Minister when the Kuki MLA met in 11 June 2023. The Naga MLAs was reportedly told by the Home Minister that they wanted to give something to Kuki, but what the Naga wanted, it was the question asked to the MLAs, but some of the MLA clearly said that the Naga area or the land cannot be touched, because on even including Sandel in all the districts, except in Chochampur, even in that Chochampur also the 13 Kabui village was there. So you cannot make any separate territory for the cookies. It was clearly told to the Home Minister, and the Naga society will not. This will be another conflict. So this separate administration or union territory only for one community is not feasible, and I don't think that Meitei will also agree, because you cannot separate valley and the hill, and Meitei cannot survive. If the center wanted to make it by forcefully, then I think you have to kill all the Meiteis before making that kind of arrangement. And I think Indian government have to make a crime against the Meiteis. They have to do a genocide. Otherwise, Meitei will not accept. It is not that we have the power, but this is the only land that Meitei live in the last 5,000, 10,000 years. And if any policy try to divide in this particular manner, then I think this will not be a conducive for all the communities. Having said that, there are grievances, there are policies to be changed for equal development and equal development for all the districts. Yes, there are many other ways we need to find out. And the Autonomous District Council, actually, it was specially made by the Union government in Parliament only for Manipur. This Autonomous District Council is very, very different from any other ADC in Sixth Schedule and other. So this Autonomous District Council may be empowered more economically And I think for the development, no problem for any community. And this kind of idea that we will have only one separate exclusive territory, and this will not be acceptable. And again, that is why this violence is actually to create that kind of separation, and this is a very unacceptable ways, and that is why this violence is happening. So that is why we felt that
Okay.
the demand of separate administration is not coming from the violence. This violence is to create that separate administration. And I think the Mahatma Gandhi or any other prominent leader have clearly said that you have to you know do the means is very important. If you are attacking a community trying to get separated, I think it is unprecedented and it will not be acceptable. But it appears that the state machinery is behind this violence. That is why you are allowing to divide the community, to prove the world that look, the community cookies and Meitei cannot live together, so let's make divide. So this is just to create that kind of division, and the state forces are behind that. That is why we are saying that you cannot divide in such manner, and we want peaceful coexistence, and we all live to live with prosperous, hopefully, and the truth and reconciliation is important, and we need to sense the pain of what other cookie sisters and brothers have experienced in the last 21 months. And at the same time, the cookie also needs to sense that how the Meiteis are also suffering, and not beyond that. And this suffering should not be used to get a political agenda, and this will
Okay.
be another problem for that.
Okay, Hoinu, I just want to ask you that Rojesh was mentioning about reconciliation. After so much of bloodshed, how can the Meitei community, Kuki communities, rebuild their trust? And are there any grassroots initiative so far that can bridge the gap, or this conflict permanently severed relationships?
Very difficult question, but I shall try and respond to that. One, of course, something as severe as what happened on the 3rd of May. Some things are destroyed forever. But when I say some things are destroyed forever, I also want to bring to the fore that people have been working at the grassroots level to initiate peace and reconciliation. But we must understand that there are many ingredients for peace. Am I audible? Read, read, read. There are many ingredients for peace. There has to be mutual trust, but the trust deficit is at an all-time high right now. So it is little difficult uh, to imagine that things will be the way they were. There has to be an inclusive sort of policy that will also uh, bring in, that will also bring in faith, that will also bring in trust, that will also bring in, a huge amount of. Uh, am I audible?
Yeah.
Or am I just speaking to myself? So I would I don't know. So I felt there were many ingredients to peace. One, of course, there has to be very conducive atmosphere to build, even to come to sit across the table, that there has to be trust. So I think those are still very far cry. Of course, there are lots of initiatives that have begun, and I have been also a part of things that are happening very informally. Uh, but the I think it's a very difficult, the severance of ties. Like when a relationship is broken, it can be repaired, but it's not entirely the way how it was. So the crack is there, and initiative will also be. I mean, there are initiatives at every level. As I said, I've been a part of few, but it's something that has to be worked upon. It cannot be achieved overnight. And of course, it has to come with an intent that, okay, we want to do this. And a peace charter has to be signed, to my mind, a peace charter, that something like this will never happen again. So there are lots of conditions. It's not something that can be achieved overnight. Uh, Different layers of activities must be initiated from the government, from the community, from the leaders. Uh, so it's something that has to be worked upon. It has to be worked upon with intent, with sincerity, and with a lot of commitment.
Okay, so this is my last question, and this is for Rupa. And has media failed to hold the government accountable, and why is not there any more pressure for actions from the government?
I think I would say yes, the Godi media has failed. It has the resources to send journalists to be on the ground in both areas and to report factually. I think the regional media, particularly in Manipur, it does not inspire trust, especially the valley media. Um, we've been dependent on information that has been coming from both sides separately and to make our own judgments. So, but I do think that various independent initiatives have taken place within the Northeast and in the rest of India, where people have gone and reported and stayed there. And I think a lot of information has emerged because of that, which is independent and factual. So I definitely think more needs to be done. And I think particularly for the Northeast media to take the initiative to rise above their own communities and to be able to report what we should as journalists, from the region, and what are the issues. There are many issues that are hurtling towards you in terms of the kind of policies that are coming for development. For instance, policies that relate to your land and who controls it. There are policies that are pushing plantation labor, plantation monocultures into these areas which are rich in biodiversity. These are things that there's mining coming in, there are large dams. These are the issues where northeastern communities need to be coming together to talk about what is happening and to explain to the rest of India why this is not going to be good for you. These are rich biodiversity areas, the sources of your water, for your air that you breathe, your forests, your medicinal plants, your food sources. And, we need to hear these Northeastern voices. And unfortunately, we are getting enmeshed in just reporting clashes and fights, but we're not looking at the wider picture of what is hurtling towards you, who is going to be the loser in this. Do you realize that in the Northeast, I mean, neither Meitei or Kuki are going to be the beneficiaries of what is happening. And therefore, it's very important that you explain this to the rest of India.
Yes, Rojesh, what is your opinion
Yeah,
on this? Has
yeah,
media failed completely to hold the government accountable?
uh, yeah. I think media also. I don't know what to say, but the problem is that many media, the progressive media or even left oriented media, actually they cannot come out from the kind of they are already the idea that they actually cannot see Manipur separately. Rather, they always see from the prism of what happened in Gujarat, what happened in Delhi. So they always try to see from that kind of perspective. Rather, they don't want to see the what and how this happened is a very unprecedented violence, and it never happened in, and it will never allow to happen in other states except in Manipur or Northeast. It also shows
Mhm.
about the racist attitude towards the people, whether the Kuki or Meitei die, it doesn't matter to the policy matter in Delhi, or even so. But I would supplement to what Sister Voinu said. Like there are many things that the people of the communities should do. Like I will tell you very emotional thing. One, my son is under 10 years, and he said that the cookie people are bad, and I said no, you can't say like this because the all cookies are not bad. It's only the certain politics actually led to fire us. Yes, we will overcome this, and like the many such cookie children and cookie old mothers, they're all good people. So we are actually telling to our younger generation that we don't want our younger generation to actually feel hatred at the community. So we have the responsibility to do it. And when one particular communities are saying for the peaceful coexistence, it is not understood as that we are weak and we cannot fight, but it is actually saying that it is the beneficial, it is the destiny, that collective progressive life of the older communities, as Rupaji said, that it will not benefit to the cookies or Meitei. Rather, the multinational companies or any other company, they will take our land, and the people will come. If Meitei or cookie die, it doesn't matter. The people will flow, and then the people from the ground will be gradually, not survive. So it is the best interest of the older community that how to actually reintrospect ourselves, and and we also tell to our friends and our community, even civil society, that we should also remember that cookies have been part of us, and they have taken historical responsibility in the building of modern Manipur. We cannot always say, and even all the organization, even Arambai Tengol leader said that the Kuki who lived before 1950, 1961, they are Manipuris, but we have to accept that the constitution of India and the border and the territory, it is not that everyone will be, like allowed to settle and live in the area, and they will get the SC certificate and they can do anything. It cannot be allowed. So the law should take their own course of action, and the rule of law should be applied, and the new, I will not say cookie, rather I will say that the new people should be identified, and they should be given to the place where they are supposed to be, and then the community which we live together, well, at least some centuries, and then long time back, we should cherish our experience of living together. And of course, uh, I think even in like the valley is also very much part of every community. And even I will also tell you one of the civil society group, we have discussed that they were about to invite cookies also in Imphal with the security, but some of the discussions were there. So even for a Meitei, there is no any agenda that this valley or this area should be only for Meitei. It's never in the agenda. It's only that Meitei had to respond to the violence, but now the cookie should also realize that uh, like if you're putting agenda again and again that only separate administration or union territory, I think that will not going anywhere else. So that is how we should sit together and try to
Rojesh, I
ways
want to
found.
ask you one last question. I want to
Hmm.
ask you last question, which with direct threats to journalists, can fair reporting even exist in Manipur, especially in the valley area?
Now,
Like
why not?
Yamen
Yeah,
Laba, and one incident happened to me, and many incidents had happened. But in
I
brief,
think
I want your answer.
yeah, why not? But still, it is also dependent upon how you actually communicate in advance. When in the case of Yavem Lava, it was also condemned by many people and fraternity, and some of the group have not agreed what he said, but later on he clarified. Of course, I think this perception, like of neutrality and being professional, is has to be informed earlier that okay, they are working for the peace and the progress of the community, not siding to either one group or people, and that it may be not advisable. So every people, we also wish that the border communities are affected, but the rest of the country, either media or professional things, please help from the very neutral point of view as a citizen of India, not siding to the Kuki or Meitei, but only to restore the rule of law and also respect the older community. That will bring peace and what is prosperity for all the communities in Manipur. And we are hopeful,
Hoihnu,
and we
yeah.
are hopeful that the Kuki party, there was a bloodshed, but still they lived together. Kuki Naga was also a class. So it is not that there was no any class. So I don't, I feel very painful if our Kuki brothers and sisters saying that we cannot live with the Meiteis. This is very, maybe because of the frustration, because of the feel of something, but we hope that that new Manipur will be built again. And yes, of course, the security, the community security, have to be provided. If the cookies or live in Imphal, then we have to take the responsibility. At the same time, though, the Cook might go back to the Sosampu and More, then the cookie also said that yes, we have to take the responsibility. Any vested interest group should not take into in their hands of deciding Manipur.
Okay, my last question to Hoinu before I end this show is that why has the local media become divided between the Kuki and the Meitei communities? As you are a journalist,
Local media divided between two communities.
yeah, wait,
I
yeah,
think the are you talk, I don't think I would look at it this way, Afrida. Initially at the start of the conflict, whatever news came out was very sanitized. It came out from Imphal. So whatever was fed was what people were reading. But as it opened up, for instance, I remember when the Editors Guild of India went with three very credible members. I thought they did a fantastic report, but they were faced with FIRs left, right, and center. So I think there's a tendency to call the media biased when it writes things which are not in our interest or which does not toe the line that we want people to believe. So it's very difficult to answer that, because and uh, it, only when it tells a story or it supports something that you want people to, an agenda-based news, then a media is supposed to be doing great job. But when it doesn't do, when it tells the truth, then you accuse media very conveniently of being biased. So I've seen the tendency that it has not also been very easy for media. I have a lot of media friends by virtue of being a journalist. When I asked them, why have you stopped writing? Then they said, oh, I know we're either accused of supporting this or supporting that, so we just want to lie low. So I think it's not been easy for media also, but of course there are some sections of media who report very, very casually. For instance, I remember when uh, a Ma lady was shot, that she was called a militant, and Meitei who also died was called a Meitei. So I think it also stems not from anything else. It also stems sometimes from ignorance, because it's a daily job. They might not really understand the impact that would have on the entire community. So all this also springs also from, I'm not saying that it comes with an agenda. A lot of this also stems from lack of understanding, and people who on the desk could be young reporters who do not understand the implication that it would cause. So a whole lot of things, really.
yeah,
But
yeah.
thank God
And
for many independent, brave voices that are broadcasting the truth in every corners of the country. So I'm glad for all those. Yeah, I'm glad for all those little platforms now. That it's not just an organization. It needn't be a media organization that has to tell a story. We have individual, very brave people telling stories, but wherever they are, thank God for them that the stories are out, truth is out, and people are getting to form their own ideas and perceptions. So I'm gladful for that.
Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you.
Okay,
And
thank you so much.
yeah. So the conflict in Manipur is about more than just ethnicity. It's about history, land, and identity. Blame alone won't heal the wounds, but accountability and justice are necessary. The path forward lies dialogue, political will, and commitment to peace. The media must not be silent. We must amplify unheard voices, highlight both the humanitarian crisis and the risk of radicalization. The choices made today will shape Manipur's future. Will conflict define it, or will justice and coexistence prevail? Thank you for joining us. Stay informed, stay engaged, and support independent journalism. Like, share, subscribe to the Notice Scope. Good night.